Hey, how's it going? Dave 2D here. So Microsoft came out with a bunch of new products recently, but the two most interesting to me were the Surface Book 3 and the Surface Headphones 2. I'm going to talk about this one first and then the headphones later. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what a Surface Book is, it is a powerful tablet running an Intel CPU, and it's got the screen and a battery inside this tablet thing. But it can connect to a base, and the base has an awesome keyboard. It's got its own battery, but most importantly, and most uniquely, it has a graphics card inside it, like a dedicated GPU, or you can get the options for dedicated GPUs. Now, connecting the two is this very unique hinge that kind of defines the whole Surface Book family and is this segmented mechanism that works incredibly well for what it's meant to do, which is to support a relatively heavy tablet onto this laptop 2-in-1 device. Now, this is the third generation of it. The first and second I've reviewed. This year, they didn't change too much on the exterior, but it did receive some notable performance upgrades, both in hardware and software. So the big one is the GPU this year. They've now been upgraded to GTX 1660 Ti Max-Q, and it pumps out way better graphical performance than last year's model. Fairly capable in games and can be good for certain applications that can make use of the extra GPU power, but there are limitations with the system because of the detachable nature of a Surface Book. And the other thing that's been upgraded is the CPU. It's now running 10th gen Intel CPUs that are mildly faster than the previous generation, but it is still a 4-core CPU, so don't expect massive gains on that front. It does have a better integrated GPU though, so if you're just using the tablet component and you're not connected to the base unit, you do have better graphical kick with the new 10th gen CPUs. Okay, other things that have been upgraded. It's now running faster SSDs, and the Wi-Fi has been upgraded. It's now running Intel branded Wi-Fi 6 instead of their older Marvell non-Wi-Fi 6 stuff. And they've bumped up the wattage on the AC adapter, so you don't have that weird power drain that was happening on last year's 15-inch model. Now, something that's always bugged me about the older Surface models, it's a minor thing, but they fixed it finally. They've improved it. It's that there's an ejection sequence when it comes to Surface Books, where you have to press the button, wait for a little message to pop up, and then you can remove it. On the older ones, that sequence took a while. And really, that feature, like that functionality of a detachable screen, is what defines this entire product category. Not just the Surface Book, but all of the Surface tablets. It's just that the Book is the only one with a delay. And when there's a delay, it ruins the whole flow, right? They've increased the speed of ejection significantly. It's now like maybe a second. Before it used to be 3. So this is nice. It's something that I think a lot of the users they would have liked to have seen it, and they delivered. I like that. Now, there are some things they still haven't changed. Like there's still no Thunderbolt 3, and the AC adapter is still using Surface Connect to power it instead of a USB-C charger. I think some people really like the Microsoft Surface Connect. I prefer USB-C, but that's just a personal preference. And if you tried to swap, like if you take a Surface Book 2 screen and you try to put it on this thing, like the base of this, it knows what you're trying to do. It won't work. And the battery life surprisingly feels worse this year. I only got around 7.5 hours with the screen at 250 nits. Now, there are some things that they didn't change that have always been awesome. So the screen, it's bright, it's color accurate. This is a really good screen with a perfect aspect ratio for this type of product. They've nailed it before, and it's still really good. Keyboard, for the most part, hasn't really changed. The brightness and volume controls are in a different spot this year, but it's an excellent keyboard. I think this is one of the best keyboards in the market when it comes to any kind of laptop or 2-in-1. The trackpad's also really good. Microsoft always has good trackpads on their Surface products, and the webcam is one of the best in the business. 1080p, it looks great with good auto exposure. The one thing that would have been nice this year would have been a higher refresh panel. Like, I know it's not a gaming laptop, clearly, and I know the battery life would have been reduced even further if they stuck a panel like that into here, but fast screens makes everything better. UIs, productivity apps, everything's just a little bit smoother when you have a higher refresh screen, but it's not in there. Okay, I want to close off this Surface Book conversation with kind of my thoughts on the product category as a whole right now. Microsoft executes this thing really well. There's stuff missing from it. It's not perfect, but Microsoft usually does a very good job with Surface Books, and this year it's just that much better. However, I will say that in 2020, if you're looking at a product like this, like the market has shifted a little bit. Like nowadays, you can buy 6 or 8 core laptops that are thin and light and very powerful, that are cheaper than something like this, and they just deliver. They deliver performance, they deliver power that this thing cannot because of the form factor. Now, a few years ago when the Surface Books first came out, the products themselves were relatively powerful for its time. Nowadays, because these things have 4-core CPUs and because there's thermal limitations of a design like this, these things have fallen behind in terms of just raw performance compared to the other things that are out there. Because you can pick up something like an XPS or a Razer Blade or any of the half dozen premium thin and light performance laptops out there and just get a Surface tablet, and you'd have 2 devices, but you'd have 2 really capable devices for those 2 different needs. This Surface Book 3 is super cool, but it's actually kind of weird to have a GPU that's capable like this paired with a 4-core 15-watt CPU. Normally companies don't do this, but Microsoft has to do it because there's thermal limitations. They can't put anything more powerful in the screen, like the chip has to be a particular wattage. So if you're gonna pick something like this up, make darn sure that you're gonna make good use of the detachability, because if you're not, there's probably a better product or a combination of products that's better for you. Okay, enough about the Surface Book 3. Let's talk about Surface Headphones 2. Everyone's talking about these black ones. The gray ones are so much cooler. I feel like black headphones are everywhere. A nice gray colored headphone like this, not that common. So I went for the gray ones. I think these are so much better than the previous generation. They're cheaper, they sound better, and they have noticeably improved battery life. Like the old ones were barely getting 10 hours. These are almost hitting 20 hours for my use. It's a winner. Now, the reason why I'm drawn to this device in the first place is its design aesthetic. It looks really clean, and it's got these nice mechanical controls of sound, so you can increase volume or decrease volume by spinning it. And on the other side, you have noise cancellation. You can crank it up to remove an ambient sound or some kind of constant environmental noise, or you can crank it the other way to amp up your environmental sounds, like a voice or someone who's talking to you while you have these on, or just sounds in general, and they work quite well. They're very comfortable. They're also quite durable. It's got a metal headband. It's got premium quality plastic. The whole thing feels really solid, and the microphone is also good. Like if you're taking a call in it, sounds clean, and the sound that you're, like whatever conversation you're having on that mic, it gets projected to the earphones. You can actually hear yourself talking, so you don't scream super loud like in this unnatural way. It feels very natural when you're using this device. Okay, so this is what I sound like through the mic on these headphones. The good thing is that I can hear my own voice. Like my voice is being piped into the headphones as I talk, but if I turn like the noise cancellation back on, yeah, now it's all muffled. You guys can't hear a difference, but for me, I feel like I'm just talking in an enclosed, muffled room and I can't hear anything. There is like a tweak that I do on the Surface Headphone 2 that I don't know if everyone's gonna like this, but it's got touch controls on the left and right. I removed that completely because I feel like I accidentally hit that stuff all the time. I just don't have touch controls. That's just how I roll. And with that tweak, it makes these my favorite over-ear headphones available right now. I really like them. Okay, that's the Surface Headphone 2. This was the Surface Book 3. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. See you guys next time.